going to be using one of my earlier stamps, which is the Wild Winter Rose, and I'm going to be showing you a great technique. It's a resist technique, and I've been practicing this for a while now, and to be honest with you, no matter how many times you do it, you get a completely different look. You can never replicate the same image twice. So it's fun, it's easy, and I thought, well, why not share it with everybody so we can all have a go. So have a play with me. I'll go through the things that we've got shortly. But before I do that, I just wanted to show you some exciting new things. I know you can't see me at the moment because you're actually looking at my website, but I just wanted to show you 3 new exciting things on my website. We have a Create and Craft page. Now on there are all the stamps that I've used on Create and Craft. But also on there are lots of videos as well, showing you what you can do with the stamps. Now they are not on TV, so if you're looking for a little bit of inspiration, it's a great place to go to get some ideas to make great things. The second one I wanted to show you was our gallery page. Now there's nothing on there at the moment, but there is a little icon, and I'm just hovering around it now, and it says send mail. So if you've got any projects that you've done using my products, i.e. stamps, boxes, papers, etc., send it in to me and I will gladly pop it on the gallery so everybody can look at your ideas and you can all get inspiration from each other. And last but not least is my blog page. So when I do live workshops, which are coming shortly, which is also exciting, on the right here there is a tab and it says ask me anything. So when we are in live chat talking and doing a workshop together, all you have to do is click that tab and ask me anything, and it pops up on my screen and we can have a conversation about it. So some great new things to show you, and I'm super excited about it all. But let's crack on and let's get straight to our demo. So it's the Wild Winter Rose, which is this one. Super cute, super lovely, very vintagey, and the sentiment I'm going to be using today is be your own kind of beautiful. So there's those 2 stamps that I'm using today. Everything I'm using today is available on the website, and I will pop links on at the end. So what you need for this demo is some watercolour card, some paintbrushes. You need quite a large paintbrush to start with, and then you will need a detailed paintbrush. So this is a number 4 and this is a Pro Art brush, and these are amazing. You will need some black ink for your sentiment, and it's going to be watercoloured, so I'm going to be using my watercolour palette today. However, if you don't have a watercolour palette, you can always use your distress inks. They are water based and they just give great effects every time as well. Because I want my technique today to be sparkly, I'm also going to be using some Perfect Pearls, and this one is blue patina. So I'm going to give a watercolour background and then we're going to watercolour resist inside. So I have stamped the image onto some watercolour card and I have white embossed it. Can you just see that? I think you can just see that. So let's crack on then. This is the fun part. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my large brush, have a bit of tissue or scrap something at the side to dab off your brush to take off the excess. You don't want your brush absolutely saturated, but it does need to be wet. So just dab the excess onto there, and all you're going to do is you are just going to paint over the areas where you have stamped. So I'm going to paint inside all the leaves. Not neat, it doesn't matter if you get water on the outside of the image. You're just attempting to wet the inside of the rose. So if you feel like you've put it on too much and it's a little bit wet, just pick up your tissue, take the excess off. It just needs to be damp. So an easier technique is, this one's quite detailed, so to get in all the nooks and crevices it would be a little bit difficult. So all you can do is just paint across like so, and then you know everywhere is wet. So I know that that's wet now. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some of my Perfect Pearls, and I'm just going to use my block which I've got my sentiment on. I'm just going to pick up some of the Perfect Pearls, and I'm just going to pop it on to my block and mix a bit of water in there. And it's up to you how much Perfect Pearls you put in. It's a consistency, but I want it to bleed. I want it to look watercolory, so I just need a bit more water on there. So all I'm going to do now with my image is this Perfect Pearls is for the outside of my rose. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it round the outside of my rose. And if you've noticed, I've dropped that on and it hasn't bled at all, which suggests my card is not wet enough. So I'm just going to get my big brush again and I'm just going to wet all the way around. So what will happen then is when you pick it up, and just drop it into the areas and the water will carry it for you. Can you see? So this is for the outside of the rose. Okay, so I'm quite happy there's enough on there. But I don't just want it just to be blue, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my watercolour palette. I'm just going to add some yellow in there as well. And all I'm going to do is drop yellow around. As you can see, I'm not being too neat about it. Get some more water. Drop it in. So if you feel it's not got enough sparkle, you can always go back in later and add some more Perfect Pearls to make it a little bit more sparkly, but this is just the outside of it. So what I want to do now is I want it to fade out around the outside, so I'm just going to get my big brush. I'm just going to go all the way around, and what will happen then is the paint will just carry around. Can you see how it's slowly bleeding out? So your background is slowly coming together there. If again you find you've got too much on, just take it off with your tissue. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to the inside while that's drying, because you can't do much more. And I'm going to use a finer brush for the detail in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a green. And I'm going to paint the leaves. And as you can see, I am not being too tidy because the card is wet and the embossing is resisting. So just go to all your leaves. This is very therapeutic. So if you've had a stressful day, it's a great way to chill out, it's this one. So as you can see, whilst I'm painting the inside, the outside is bleeding out beautifully. It actually looks like the image is being put on top of the background. So you should start to see the stamp on what it actually looks like, because I appreciate when it's white embossed on white card, you can't really see what it is. So I'm just trying to see if there's any more green. Yeah, one there. Like so. So to give the leaves some depth, you will have to add more colour, but while it's wet, you will find it's difficult to do that. So what I would suggest you do is you just let it dry and then come back to it. So now we will move on to the rose itself, and we'll use some reds. So when you come to add your when you come to add your colour, I'll just show you what I mean when it's a resist technique. So as you can see, I'm painting all over the lines there. I'm not being careful at all. Can you see? When that's dry, when I give it a rub with a cloth, the ink will come away from the white part. So that's where you get your resist. So just drop your ink in. I don't want the rose to bleed into the green, so that's where you have to take a little bit more care. Let's move on to the top one. I'm sorry if I keep going silent, but this is unfortunately what happens when you enjoy doing something. So I've got a bit too much water in there, so I'm just going to take some of it away. So I've nearly completed my 2 rose heads. I want to create some depth in those leaves, but until it's dry, I can get in and add some depth. So I'm happy with that at the moment. So while that's drying, then we can go back and revisit our green. So I'll get some more green. And I've missed some leaves here. So I'm just going over the leaves again to give them some depth. I want my leaves and my roses to pop off the page. When this is completely dry, you'll just get a tissue and you will give the whole image a rub, and the white will pop through and the whole image will just pop off your page. So up in this little corner here, there are some little rosebuds and things, so we'll just give those a visit. You can see the water went over the edge there, and I didn't want the red to bleed into my outline. So now it's just a case of revisiting and highlighting the areas where you've missed. So I can see there's some little leaves. And I can see that there is a bud, some form there. And so now let's revisit the rose. So I want the rose to have some depth. So all you do is go back in, put some intense colour on, and in some of the areas add more colour, and in other areas take it away. So the bottom of this rose is going to be quite intense. The higher the rose, the lighter the colour. And it's as easy as that. You don't have to understand light and shade for this technique. It really is just a case of popping the colour down and dragging it out with your water. So again, this rose, I want it to start dark at the bottom and around the edges. And then as you work to the top, I'm just going to highlight those hoods a little bit. And then you can't really see, but there is a stalk down here, so I'm just going to pick a browny colour, browny green, and then I'm just going to drop that into the stalk area. So it's a case of how long have you got to play, because we could sit here all day and literally play. Now I'm just adding a bit of depth to my leaves, a different shade of green. You don't have to cover them all over, it's entirely up to you. And if in some areas it's too heavy for you, just remove it, wet it, dab it, wet, dab, wet, dab. Right, so that's practically the image finished. I'm just going to fill in these areas here where it's white, because I don't want my background to be missed by that. So just going to get some yellow. I'm just going to get my brush, one of my brushes. I'm just going to drop a bit of water in there. And where else? There. And there. I'm just going to pick up some colour, drop it in. Picked up a little bit of that mica, so it blends well. And then, obviously, I would say that's a completed image. I mean, you could spend hours making it fantastic, but that's just the basics on how to do a resist technique. But all I wanted to show you was no image, in my opinion, is finished without some watercolour splashes. So all you do is you get quite a long-ended brush, you pick up your colour, and then all you do is you, at about 4 inches away from your page, you drop the ink, you see, onto your page, I think we will do it in yellow too. Can get carried away, try not to. And then just to finish it off, I'm going to stamp a sentiment which says, "Be your own kind of beautiful." And this will be matted onto a card, and I will show you the, excuse me, I will show you the finished card when I do the display for this video. So I've got "Be your own kind of beautiful." I'm just going to stamp that one underneath. No, yeah, underneath. And that will be matted onto a card. So then, can you see the mica? So guys, I hope you like what you see. If you've done that and you're now thinking, I don't like the splatters in my rose, all you need to do, pick up some water on your tissue and go in, just take them away. When that is dry, I will rub that with a tissue and give it a buff, and the white will reappear. So that is just another little technique you can use to get rid of anything you don't want on your image. Okay, so there we are. I hope you like it. If you like it, give me the thumbs up. Everything's available on the website, so please pop across and have a nosy. I'll be back again soon with another tutorial. Take care, bye.